Hey everybody, how's it going? I am here with Ross from
Chicago, Illinois. Wheaton, actually.
and we've been in contact for a little while now about getting together and doing a thing. We are up here at Waylong, and he wanted to catch his spot. See Tunnel 9 down there. And so this is where we're going to start our day. I know we got a couple of southbounds and a couple of southbounds or eastbounds, and at least one northbound or westbound. You know how what a holdout I am. But anyway, so yeah, we're gonna catch some stuff here, and then, as it always is, this day's for Ross. Wherever he wants to go is where we'll go.
All right. Thanks. Let's have a good time.
All right. See what happens next.
All right. See you later.
All right. First train of the day up here between Waylong and Marcel. And we just pulled up here. Weren't sure if the eastbounds were going to show up first or this guy, but this must be the one that my source said had just left Mojave. When I spoke with him earlier, about an hour and a half ago. We are standing right where the west end of Marcel used to be. It was actually just at the bottom of this hill, right about there, where where the pole and the tower are. And it was also this hill right here, this cut, is where Tunnel 11 used to be. It was a very short, non-lined tunnel, and I believe it was daylighted in the late 1940s, and that allowed them to extend the siding of Marcel down a little further to here. Going into Tunnel 10 up there. I know there's an eastbound coming up. I could hear his horn just before he got here, but there are quite a few little private crossings between Rowan and the upper end of Woodford. It's a pretty still day. This guy was not, when we drove by the intermediates, was not cleared through Waylong yet. So they may be making a meet there, because this guy's definitely coming to a stop. So I think we will drive back down to Waylong and see if we can't catch the meet before they get there. Alright, well, we are going to be able to catch the meet. UP. always like to get folks I bring out here, get them in the video, get a few pictures I can send to them, remind them of their time here on the mountain. Up here to towards the top end of Marcel. That last train, I accidentally turned off my recording for the end of that train, or I should say that I thought I had restarted the recording and I didn't, so I didn't catch the end of that last train down at Waylong on that meet, but that's all right. Norfolk Southern locomotive wasn't running, nor was the third locomotive back. There's power move, I guess. Well, there's Ross. He is right there. I wish it was going to stay like this weather-wise from now on through the fall, but the forecast is for back into the 90s next week, into the high 90s a couple of the days. Next Thursday, this is Thursday, the 11th, but the 18th, next Thursday, I'm supposed to go to the Kern County Fair, annual adventure with my oldest daughter, and my son-in-law doesn't like to go to the fair, but she usually brings my grandson and one of the granddaughters, Morgan. And it's going to be hot that day, so hopefully it cools off that evening. Very long train, but obviously a very heavy train. Plenty of power on the front. Looks like they have 2 DPUs on the rear. Why I'm so shaky today. Really sorry. I had plenty to eat. Here at the west portal of Tunnel 5. This will be the train that was stopped up at the loop. Ruins of Tunnel 4 there. He's approaching. Photograph of Ross there. Into Tunnel 3. you a good idea here of why they couldn't daylight Tunnel 5 after the earthquake. Way too much mountain. This tunnel is 1100, it's either 1157 or 1175 feet. I think it's 1157. So yeah, getting rid of it would have been a really big deal. There used to be a telltale right about here. When I first came up here in 1984, actually it was over there a little bit, but yeah, when I first came up here, it was still here. The ropes, and they weren't on it anymore, but the structure was still here. I had no idea what it was. Asked Bill Stocco, he explained it, and it was weird. I don't recall a time frame, but the next time I came up here to work, it was gone. The telltale were wooden structures. They crossed the track, went across the track, and they had ropes that hung down off of them in the days of the old brakemen when they used to have to ride the top of the cars. They were approaching a tunnel or any other low clearance place. They weren't looking, the ropes would drag across them. They knew they needed to sit down, get out of the way before they get knocked off the top of the train. All right, let's see what happens next. All right, we have come up here to Cliff. Let's see. Caliente, way down there. We heard this guy coming up out of the Narrows, and here he is. You know, I was telling Ross I haven't been up here since I brought Mike Williams up here some years ago. And yeah, the cut there, and around that curve is where. Sorry for the wigglies today. But yeah, around that curve is where the east end of Cliff is, tunnel 7 and 8. Cliff is definitely off the beaten path. And right up there, the top of it, where that road right there goes up along the tracks there, is where I worked my first derailment. Back in June of 1984. And that road didn't used to be there. It drops off here, goes down there, and then comes back up over there. But you used to have to go right up here on the siding and jump the tracks. They had little blocks of wood that were screwed to the ties, and you would get your inside tires on the outside rail, and you would drive around along there to that spot over there. Obviously, at some point somebody figured out that was not acceptable, and they dug that road alongside there. You did, or at least you were supposed to have on-track safety to do that. I don't ever recall doing it without protection, but probably some people did. But it didn't matter what truck you were in. Whether you were in a pickup or a big gang truck, that's the way you had to do it. And as you can see, you really can't see it from this angle, but it's probably down to where that road's cut. It's probably 100 feet. And before that road was cut there, it just went all the way to the bottom. Old Reliable there. Took it a couple of years to become reliable, but it's reliable now. With the prices of new trucks, it's going to have to stay that way. All right. Eastbound at Cliff. All right, for the last train of the day, we are down here towards the bottom end of Bealville. He just went by the Bealville crossover. Getting pictures of Ross here. Yeah. Top of it's covered in clouds. Maybe cold up there, but it ain't cold down here. Feels really, really nice. At last glance, about half an hour ago, there were no more trains out of Mojave or Bakersfield. And Ross is ready to call it a day anyhow, so it worked out just fine. All right, well, that'll be it for a day of hanging out with Ross. What'd you think?
That was great. Places I never thought I'd see before. It was a great time, good trains, a lot of trains, and you got to come out and see this.
Yes, you do. Yeah, just like I always tell everybody, man, if you want to do something like this, get in touch with me, and I'm sure we can work something out.
And it does work.
Yeah, I'll always answer you. I may be busy or something, but I'll always answer you. So shoot me an email at motorpoet59@gmail.com. Here are the URLs to my PayPal and my Patreon. If you can help the channel out that way, I'd sure appreciate it. Shoot me an email, motorpoet59@gmail.com. Like, share,
Have a great day.
subscribe, click on the bell if you want to be notified of future content, and we will see you later.